Welcome to the SI Academy of class 9th and chapter number 3 called as Atoms and Molecules. Chapter number is Atoms and Molecules, chapter number 3. So in our previous video we discussed that how we can see the different kinds of substance around us and how they are pure and how they are impure and what are the constituent of that and elements and compounds we studied in these chapters, right? So you want videos of the first and second chapter of this class 9th. You can search in our playlist. You will get all the videos of first and second chapters. Okay, so you can search in our playlist. You will get all the videos for. Okay, so today we are starting the new chapter of this ninth standard called as atoms and molecules. You already know about the some what is substance, what is a pure substance, and solutions and its components, and what is element and compound. So now we will discussing about what is atoms and molecules, right? And before that, who are introduced or who studied about the atoms and molecules, and which are the scientists are contributed mainly about atoms and molecules, right? Okay, we'll discussing here and we'll start the atoms and molecule chapter. So here ancient Indian and Greek philosophers, right? Here Indian and Greek philosophers have interested in what about unknown and unseen form of matter. So both here Indian philosopher as well as the Greek philosophers are interested and or wondered or about they are surprised about to know unseen and unform of matter. So they are very curious about to learn or study about the matter. The idea of divisibility of matter was considered long back in India around 500 BC. Before Christ, that 500 BC only in India, the divisibility of matter was introduced in India by our philosophers, right? Matter of divisibility before Greek philosophers. So the divisibility of matter is already introduced in our country. An Indian philosopher called as Maharshi Kanada. Okay, which Indian philosopher? Maharshi Kanada is the Indian sage. So he postulated that if he goes on dividing the matter, at last we will get Padartha. So he described that if we divide the matter and we goes on dividing the matter, at the last we will get some point. That point is called as what? He said that is the Padartha, right? Who said this? This is said by Maharshi Kanada, 500 BC, that we divide the matter and at last we will get some point or some matter. That matter is called as what? Padartha at last, at the least, right? What that called as a Padartha. We shall get smaller and smaller particles. Okay, he said that when this matter is divided into, at last what we'll getting, these are called as, he said that Padartha. While dividing the matter, at last some smallest particles will observe. That smallest particles he called or he named that as a Padartha. Ultimately, a stage will come when we shall come to across the smallest particles beyond which further division will be not possible. And he also said that if we divide the matter, okay, so if any matter is divided and at the last time these Padartha or these smallest particles cannot be divisible into further, said by Maharshi Kanada. When we divide the matter, at the last we will get the smallest and smallest size of particles. So these particles named by Maharshi Kanada as a Padartha, and he also said that these particles cannot be broken down or cannot be divided further. said by Maharshi Kanada. He named these particles as a Paramanu, and he is named what? He named as what? Paramanu. What is that called as that these particles, smallest particles, if we divide the particles, divide the matter, these are what become smallest particles, and he called as what? Paramanu. Paramanu. When so this matter means what? He said that padartha, and padartha is divided into several kinds of pieces of small pieces of particle, and they are called, after the padartha is divided into smaller and smaller pieces, and these pieces are called as what? Paramanu. What is they called as a Paramanu? Remember that. Who said that? Maharshi Kanada. And not only the Maharshi Kanada, another scientist or another philosopher will come. His name is what? Pakadu Katayama. Pakadu Katayama also elaborated out this kind of theory only. He next he named the particles as what? Paramanu. These particles he called as what? Paramanu. Another Indian philosopher, Pakadu Katayama, elaborated this doctrine and said that these particles normally exist in a combined form, which gives us a various form of matter. What he said, that if matter is divided into smallest particles, these particles are called as what? Paramanu. By which philosopher? This is the Maharshi Kanada, right? And the another philosopher, Pakadu Katayama, said that if these smallest paramanu are existed in what? Combined form, and while combining these will give the variety forms of matter, said by what? Pakadu Katayama. These are the major two philosophers of Indian ancient philosophers said about matter, right? They are mainly said that if we divide the matter, at the last time you will get some smallest particle called as Paramanu, and these Paramanu will combine to give what? Different types of matter, said by two philosophers. One is Maharshi Kanada, second one is Pakadu Katayama, right? Same thing is said by the what? Ancient Greek philosophers also. So around the same era, ancient Greek philosophers, not only the Indian philosophers, said same thing said by the Greek philosophers like Democritus and Leucippus. Same things said by the two Greek philosophers, Leucippus and Democritus. They are suggested that if we are go on dividing matter, a stage will come when particles obtained cannot be divided further. Same thing said by the Greek philosopher also. If we are divide the matter, so if we divide the matter, at the stage will comes these matter cannot be divisible, right? These are the same points said by the Greek philosophers. Democritus called these individuals particles called as what? Atom. So Democritus called these particles called as what? Atom. But Indian philosopher said that the Paramanu, and the Greek philosopher said these smallest particles are called as atom. So both are said same thing only, but in a different way. So not different way means the Greeks are said that these are called as atoms, but Indian philosopher said that is called as a Paramanu. This is the only difference of naming the smallest particles. The Indian says that Paramanu, but Greek philosopher said that these are the atoms only, but both are same only. Okay, so here the matter and his stage it will become children, so cannot be divided further. Democritus called these individual particles called as atoms. Atoms meaning is what? Indivisible, means the further it cannot be divisible, so that is called as what? Atom only. Same thing said by our philosophers only. All these was based on the philosophical considerations and not much experimental work to validate these ideas could be done till the 18th century. So whatever said by Indian philosopher as well as the Greek philosopher, they are said by verbally. They are not given any proof or experimental work for validate these theories until until 18th century. Before 18th century, they are only said by verdicts or a verbal communication, but they does not given any experimental work to the what atoms are divisible into what sorry, the matter is divisible into matter. It is not given any experimental proof before 18th century. By the end of the 18th century, scientists recognized the difference between elements and compounds and naturally become interested in finding out how and why elements combine and what happens when they combine. After the 18th century, the peoples are knowing about and are also they are curious about how elements are formed, how compounds are there naturally in the nature. After they will combine, what they will happens, and before combining, what happens between the two element. So variety kinds of queries will be solved by around the 19th century. So different scientists will come and different topics are given by and different laws are given by the different scientists after the 18th century. So the famous names are what? Antino L. Lavoisier led the foundation of chemical science by establishing two important laws of chemical combination. So already discussed that after the 18th century, the scientists are very curious about to learn and get the informations about elements and compound. So after the 18th century, the Antino Lavoisier is the what a founder or a led the what a chemical combinations or what importance laws are given by what Antino L. Lavoisier is given the laws of chemical combinations. Right? This is about small introduction of this atoms and molecule chapter. In next video, we will discussing about what are the laws of chemical combination, a meaning of that, and we will discuss later in a very detailed manner. For that, you have to stay tuned with our channels and please subscribe for that and share with your friends. Thank you for watching, and search in our playlist. You will get all the videos of 9th class. Thank you.